So obviously we talk about it this morning. We spoke about it this morning, the fact that Carl Starfelt could be leaving. Brendan Rodgers has confirmed that Carl Starfelt could leave as early as next week. The 28-year-old defender could be on his way out of Celtic Park. We'll remember that his missus and she left to go to Portugal, but Carl Starfelt is expected to leave the club, and Brendan Rodgers revealing his departure could come as soon as next week. Let's face it, the Swedish star hasn't been the sort of big success. He has had his moments over the last couple of seasons. He was signed for 4.2 million. Celtic were obviously going to make a profit on him. He is at that age bracket where Celtic would really probably move him on anyway. Celtic did win 4-2 against Ross County today. And if you haven't checked out that video, check the video that is up here or here. Check out the one where at Paddy's Point after the game. If you haven't checked out the live for this morning, make sure you check that out also after the game. But to say what a game it was definitely a game where we could have done a lot better. I was asked in the pub to say something positive about Joe Hart. I'll leave that one up to you in the comments. But remember to give this video also a big thumbs up. Smash the thumbs up, as it does help with the algorithm. So it was a big shock to see that the one and only David Turnbull starting the match. But when you look back to some of the pre-season games, he has performed a bit better than Rio Hatate. People are saying Rio Hatate's away, and it's not. It's just pure, it comes down to purely the fact that Rio Hatate isn't really up to speed as where he was last season. If you ask me, you never know. Rio Hatate might still be sold before the end of this window, but I don't think that Celtic should sell him. I think Rio has come out himself, and he has said that he doesn't plan to go anywhere. So it all comes down to the other night. You've got to remember, Hatate was on in the first half, and let's be said, the team for the first half of James Forrest's testimonial was absolutely rubbish. And I did say that it would be a marriage of players from the first half with a marriage of the players for the second half of that game, and I was kind of proved right. There was a couple of people that got the scoreline nearly correct. I'll need to check the live from last night. But the big call was the fact that I did say that I thought Carl Starfelt would start the game, but understand that there has been an offer for Carl Starfelt this morning and at Celtic, and hence the reason that he did not start the game. So then Brendan Rodgers obviously wanted to go with Big Rocky to get their partnership up and running. Tell me what I think about Anthony Ralston. It's the fact that we are missing Alistair Johnson. Tony Ralston will never lace Alistair Johnson's boots, but whilst he is still coming back from injury, Ralston done okay. The positives of the game today had to be the fact that Yang looked absolutely immense when he come on. He's got a bit of pace. Matt O'Reilly's been talking after the game. Also, Matt O'Reilly, it's been suggested, continues his beef with David Turnbull in defence, and his beef with Ange Postecoglou in defence, of David Turnbull. He went on to say he was hard done by last term. Oh, Matt, you really didn't get on with Ange Postecoglou, did you? He's basically come in and said, look, he said he was hard done by last term. He's a fantastic player. He scored a couple of cracking goals. Turnbull could have scored another goal. It could have been on a hat-trick. The thing is, you give Turnbull the ball outside the box. The penalty, he scored a cracking penalty. The one where he actually kicks it down into the ground, fantastic. How many players would have tried to bury that into the back of the net? How many players would have sort of just... technically, his second goal was absolutely fantastic. It was spot on. From a technical point of view, he hits it right. He hits it down into the ground in front of the players and the keeper. Absolutely brilliant goal. 9 times out of 10, players would have tried to smash that. And how many times have we seen players smash it over the bar, smash it wide, smash it into the keeper? David Turnbull for that goal was absolutely amazing. Kyogo gets on, and Kyogo does what Kyogo always does, which was absolutely fantastic. And then pops up Matt O'Reilly, and it was only about 5 minutes before I said Matt O'Reilly should probably come off. And then I was like, yeah, typical. But the big news is today that Carl Starfelt is probably going to be leaving Celtic next week. There has been an offer this morning. Brendan Rodgers admitted after the game, he said Carl could leave, hence the reason for not starting him. Maybe it's something that will go through next week, but we shall see. Obviously, he's been a fantastic servant here, and he's a great guy and really committed. But there are reasons why he might want to move on. So if it's a team that comes in from Spain, he's going to jump it. If it's a team that comes in from France, he's going to jump it. Any team in Europe that's closer to his missus, he's going to obviously jump at that chance. Carl Starfelt has made 51, well, including today, 52 appearances since joining Celtic from Rubik Kazan back in 2021. He's obviously won the 2 league titles, 2 league Scottish Cups during his time at Celtic. He's been a fantastic player. He does have that bit in his game where, I mean, even today, was he at blame for the goal that kind of came off him? And then Joe Hart. What can you say about Joe Hart? I have been asked to say something positive about Joe Hart. Can somebody do it for me? Can somebody in the comments? I mean, Joe Hart is the kind of there was moments in that game where a good team, and this is what we have to think about, and even Malky Mackay has come out after the game and said that, we looked at the way Celtic played during pre-season. We knew that they were going to get goals. We knew that they were attack-minded, but their defence, they do have a weak point. And, we were 3-0 up at half-time. We basically got beat 2-1 in that second half. Even Malky Mackay, he says, a real top team. We know Celtic were clinical, he said. We spoke before the game, and we knew that we would get chances. We saw them in pre-seasons, lose goals to Yokohama, for example. We knew we would get chances. We had to be clinical. If we go into the Champions League with this type of play that we had in the second half and pre-season, it is only the first game of the season, but people have said, we need a better keeper for the Champions League, and we need to get another keeper in now. Playing a team in the Champions League, we would have got beat 5-2, 6-2 today, 6-4. I mean, we might still scored the 4 goals, but, they would have probably scored first. I did say before the game yesterday, I said last night on the live, that I thought that they would score. I did have a prediction of 3-1. 3-1 was my prediction. I didn't expect Brendan to make the changes he did. He obviously brought Carl on because he thought, yeah, we're going to give you the minutes because it's going to be your last time playing at Celtic Park. So it wasn't a technical, it wasn't a tactical switch bringing Carl on. It was purely just to get him on the pitch and say, we think this could be your last game, so go and enjoy your time on the pitch. And I've not seen any footage for after the game. This is one thing that I hate about not being going to games, because you can actually see the players' reactions after games, and you would have known then if Carl was saying his goodbyes or not to the Celtic fans. We wish him well if he does move on, but let's face it, a good team would have beat us today. A good team would have beat us. They had 7 corners in the first half. We defended the corners okay. Should they have had a penalty? That wasn't a penalty. The guy takes a bit of a dive. He never got booked for it. But it comes down to Joe Hart again. So tell me what you think in the comments. Big news is today that Carl Starfelt looks as if he's played his last game for Celtic. We wish Carl all the best in the future. It is all about Big Rocky and Cameron Carter-Vickers. I think they're going to be immense at the back. Brendan has said there are other circumstances to why he might want to leave. So, if that's the reason, we move on. There are other reasons, Brendan's exact words, there are other reasons why he might want to move on. So, on that note, tell me what you think about Carl leaving. Tell me what you think about the big man of the day. The big man of the day for me, and it was the man of the match, was the one and only little Scotsman. And I thought he took his goals really well. That one, technically that goal, you've got many times that people say, when you're in that position, hit it down into the ground before you go to the keeper rather than smash it into the keeper. So for me, he really got man of the match for the right reasons. Tell me what you think about Joe Hart. Tell me what you think about Matt O'Reilly opening his gob and saying, yep, David Turnbull was hard done by last season. Oh, Matt. And on that note, have a great day, Celtic fans all around the world.
lit. Roll up to the party, roll up to the party. Roll up to